There are two men. You give both men the wink. One guy answers the wink with a plan and being intentional about you and saying, hey, meet me here. The other guy keeps you waiting for weeks, being wishy-washy until you say you love him. What feels more masculine? What makes you feel more chosen? Look, as a woman, you want to be chosen. How can you be chosen if a guy isn't intentional and direct in his communication and is planning for your dates? You want that kind of guy who says, meet me here at this time after you've had me to play, because that guy is saying, I'm intentional, I want you, I'm sure about it, I'm gonna risk putting myself out there like that. Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of the New Age Sage podcast. Today we're tackling a special topic that is the point of contention and confusion for most romantic experiences nowadays, and I believe that this confusion is responsible for the current dating catastrophe we face in America. You know, I'm young, I'm 26, and I'm around people my age who are in the dating market, and the common review is that the dating experience is pretty horrible in America. And I was just in Argentina, and I asked the woman I was at a dinner with, what's your experience in dating like in Argentina? And they all also said it was horrible. So there seems to be a current catastrophe of dating woes in the world. And there's many different theories as to why this is. I think the theories that are presented nowadays are too focused on the practical components from like a left brain logistical issue, such as dating apps are responsible an overdependence on texting or sending selfies, or things are becoming too sexual and it's all too lustful. All those things have validity to them and have truth to them. However, I think that this is more of an energetic issue in regards to understanding and honoring masculine and feminine energies. So this is not a thing for me to go on a red pill trad lecture around how women have to be women and men have to be men. I believe that we've gone twofold right now in society. Essentially what's happening is there's two movements. One that suggests men have to be stereotypically masculine to an extreme level, and the woman have to be stereotypically feminine to an extreme level. This then leads to patterns of abuse where men require women submit and the women submit and lose any sense of themselves. This is the current red pill movement and hatred towards women we are facing, which I'm deeply against. However, this does not mean that there's not a place for honoring masculine and feminine energies with love, and with that love, using them as a template to understand what real divine union consists of. On the other hand, we have this movement of rejecting and hating any conception or possibility of masculine and feminine energies, calling it gender essentialism, where there is no such thing as masculine and feminine energies, and that is also responsible for the current dating catastrophe we face. So, to summarize, using masculine and feminine energy and over-depending on it as a way to make women submit and control them, and then having women then rebel against that because that experience has led to so much abuse, both create two extremes that are resulting in this horrible experience we have in dating in the world, and especially in America, because that anger is even deeper in women, and then the anger of men about women and making them control them is also much deeper, sadly. So, what am I pointing to here? I believe that this can be remedied and solved through understanding how to honor masculine and feminine energy in the courtship phase of dating, where it kind of sets the precedent of what to expect going forward. And I'll create evidence and data points to suggest that this template has to be followed to some extent, not like exactly, but to some extent, to create the foundation of a union with healthy love, healthy desire, and a healthy passion, where it's not just a friendship, right? Where there's real attraction, real love, and a real desire to ravish the other person, to really want them sexually, to feel so drawn to them, and to have I'll put it this way. Through this explanation, I will explain on how to go about the initiatory phases of romance. you will have a romantic experience where your heart and your genitals are turned on equally. Who doesn't want that, right? Most experiences we face right now, it's just heart, where it's a friendship, but you'll tolerate the friendship because you're so used to having the passionate ones destroy you, or it's just passionate, just sexual because there's no heart. You can have both, and you can have both, I believe, by creating a foundation of union that's precipitated, I don't know if that's a word, on the honoring of masculine and feminine energy in the initiatory phases. Now, what is an initiatory phase? What does that mean? An initiatory phase of any union, the fairy tale introductory meeting, is essentially can be reduced to: how is the man pursuing the woman? How is the woman pursuing the man? Are there actually rules on this? Does one pursuing the other actually lead to more romantic success? If the woman pursues the man versus the man pursuing the woman, is there a real difference? So, the answer is yes. There is a real difference on who pursues who and what it should be. However, it's not what you expect. Women and men pursue each other in different ways, and those different ways have to be honored to create a union rooted in love and passion and sex, where there is a sexual desire. This split between how each gender should pursue differently is being jumbled up. And I'll explain how. I believe this jumbling up of understanding how each energy pursues is what is creating the current dating market we face, where the only options women seem to have is, do I date my best friend where I don't feel really sexually drawn to him, or do I date the guy who I'm just sexually drawn to but I don't feel this friendship, loving connection with him? This way of honoring the way both genders pursue in their healthy masculine or feminine is what can create an experience where the foundation is my heart and my genitals are turned on. When I'm with you, my heart's vibrating, my pussy's vibrating. That may sound vulgar, but which woman doesn't want that? What woman does not want to be turned on by their man? What woman truly wants to be in a relationship where it's just a friendship, where it becomes a sexless marriage? That's the experience we're facing in America right now, and it does not have to be this way. It's time to get this right. So, I'll begin with, this is complicated. This is not just a one-size-fits-all, like, man, do this, woman, do this. It's a complicated procedure. So, initially, off the bat, I believe the woman should make the first move of pursuit. Now, you may think that means, oh, you mean I have to go across the room and grab the guy I'm attracted to, or I have to text him and say you're hot first? No, that is not what I mean. And that's what's confused, that when people think of who should pursue, it's always who should make the loudest move. Who should be the one to run over immediately and tell this person you're hot and sexy and I want you. It's not that. So, the first move of pursuit in an ideal courtship scenario is the woman gives the invitation for the man to pursue. This could be an obvious look of, I like you, you're attractive, I feel this energy in you, I'm curious about. That look of invitation. Or we live in a digital world, an Instagram suggestive slide, making conversation, liking his story, just showing him, hey, you have permission to make your move, right? This could also mean like getting in his space at the gym. I think women do that as well, like making yourself known of being around him. This has to happen to increase the chances of connection. I'll explain why. But men, when it comes to understanding if a girl likes them, are pretty retarded. And you may think the word's offensive, but I'm using it because they're that stupid about it. They're literally mentally handicapped when it comes to emotional intelligence in regards to if a girl likes them, because either men way over believe the woman's interested in them, or they way undervalue it. Either the guy's narcissistically insane and believes any girl who looks at him for a second loves him, or he's so unaware that if a woman literally gets in his space for 10 minutes, he can't understand. Look, I fall into both sides. I've been the guy who over expects and believes that a woman's interested in him when she's not, right? Or she's just an overly flirtatious person, and I take that to mean that she likes me and not every other guy out there for her own validation. And I've been that guy more so who has missed opportunities so often in my past because I could not believe that a woman who was that attractive liked me. So I just didn't see the moves. When I'm out with my friends, they're the ones who have to always point out to me, dude, that girl is staring at you, that girl is putting herself in your space, because I don't see it. And a lot of men are that way. So it's important to make this invitation as obvious as possible without literally going up to them and saying, hey, you're hot. So whatever way that's disparate to literally saying, I want you to make a move, communicate that non-verbally as loud as you can, as you're literally talking to a person who's stupid as hell. So this can mean a really obvious look where you can convey and emit the energy of, I'm interested in you, I like your energy, I want you to come to me. Make that known. Don't give this little thing women do with like a little quick, like I can energetically catch things now, thankfully, from just being more intuitive, where I can feel I'm walking by a girl in the street who's very attracted to me, but she's so shy and she doesn't own her desire that she'll give me a little tiny glance and then do her hair. I can notice that because I've become more emotionally aware than the past, but in the past I wouldn't even have seen that at all. So this begins with you owning what you want as a woman. You see a guy, you don't shame your desire, you honor your intuitive feeling that I feel something about this guy. Now, this should not be just physical looks, because just lust and just this guy's hot, that's not what we're here for. I want you to feel intuitive curiosity, intuitive knowing, an intuitive invitation to be like, my gut feels like it's in our destiny to know each other. Your intuition is your God tuition as a woman. It's a divine gift you have, and you can use it for giving men the invitation to approach you or talk to you, because that feeling is, we're supposed to know each other. When you're a woman and you feel this feeling towards a man and we're supposed to know each other, honor it and give the man an invitation to pursue. So I hope that makes sense and is clear. Now, to answer the question, why is this important? Why is it important for the woman to give a man an invitation to pursue? You could think the man should be brave and honorable and run towards me and sweep me off my feet. However, when you invite a man to pursue you and approach you by giving the proverbial wink or white handkerchief, you are creating an environment, a boundary where you can feel safe in his presence, and that safety increases the chances of connection. Sexually, energetically, a woman opens up when she feels safe. So when you give a man an invitation to come to you and pursue you and make the first aggressive move, I don't mean physically, just put himself there, you increase your chances of safety. And when you feel safe as a woman, that vastly increases your chances of connection. Furthermore, if a man responds to your invitation to come to you, it reveals his emotional awareness, that he is in tune with his intuition and his feelings, and he wants to honor your safety versus just springing up on you and forcing himself on you without permission. So, to create an example of this that I see so often with women that breaks my heart is when men pursue you without the invitation, right? When you think of the fact, I want my guy to come sweep me off my feet, and I don't want to have to give him a look or a wink. Think about this. Think about you in the gym. You're playing your music, you're in the middle of your squats, and you're locked in, and some guy, some hobo comes out of some demonic portal in the gym, and is all sweaty and rushes over to you and taps you on the shoulder. Hi, hello. I just wanted to say hi. And you're like, dude, what? And he's sweating. You're like, what the? That ruins your whole gym experience. That reveals a deep disconnection of intuitive awareness from the guy, and he believes his need to talk to you trumps your emotional safety. So a guy who just goes up to you in the middle of nowhere on the street, at the gym, and just grabs you, that guy is deeply emotionally unaware and does not prioritize your safety. So you don't actually want men like that. Now, there are cases where it could be different, and that case probably most likely is that the guy is super attractive, right? If a guy who's super attractive comes to you without the invitation, you're more likely to say yes than the guy who's ugly and creepy. So, again, this is not a one-size-fits-all. I'm just providing and explaining a general blueprint for how to go about the initiatory stages of courtship. So, to summarize, waiting for an invitation as a man to approach the feminine and be more forward in his pursuit is a man saying, I respect your space and your sense of safety as a woman. Now, what kind of woman would not want a guy who respects her space and her sense of safety? By giving a guy the invitation to come pursue you with a look, a smile, a very obvious hair flipping, a suggestive Instagram DM. You are now saying, hey, my space, my heart is open for you to come treat me with intentionality to get to know me. That invitation is required from a woman to open up her heart for a safe pursuit from the man. Okay. So, get good at those looks, ladies. And just, again, make sure your intuition is leading the look, not your need for lust and attention. Okay. Now, we're at the stage where we are past the wink. So you've given him the quote-unquote suggestive, seductive look, an intuitive energy of I want to know you. I feel like we know each other and I want to experience that. Or you've given him the Instagram slide that's not super suggestive, but a little cheeky, a little bit like, hey, I see you. You know, we can talk a little bit. Every single experience I've had positively with a woman has been when she gives me the invitation to pursue. And that happens a lot through Instagram, honestly, because in person is hard nowadays, but it still happens in person sometimes, where she doesn't make the first hard move, but she's giving you an invitation saying, hey, I kind of like you. Here's a wink. Come pursue me harder. Now, when this has happened, this is where the man has to step up. You've given the wink. You've given the suggestive invitation for the man to pursue you because you feel safe enough for that to occur. Okay, you're opening up your energy to him. And you can only open up properly when you feel safe. You only feel safe when you give a man an invitation to come to you. So, in this moment, the man has to step up. I'm going to discuss my personal experience with this and how I used to be horrible with women and fuck it up constantly because I would go through this pattern of they would give me an invitation, a woman, to pursue and state my intentionality and a plan, and I would then use that as an opportunity to just text a lot, to text until my ego is like, she's 100% a confirmed date and sex maybe when I was younger. So it was like, instead of taking my chances with a three-pointer that I was open with, I would literally stand as close to the basket as possible and just shoot the easiest shot possible because I was so petrified of rejection that I couldn't take the risk. So I had to know through texting over and over and over again, this girl is so obsessed with me that there's no chance I get rejected. That's a boy. That's a boy in his feminine who is staying at that stage of winking because he's too scared to make a move. So that also means when it came time to set up a date, I would make the woman tell me where to go. Like, hey, what do you like? What do you want to do? What would you want to eat? Now, that may seem like it's like I'm considering the woman. There's some truth to that, but it's actually more so rooted in it was rooted in my experience, in my deep terror of disappointing her. So I was so terrified of disappointing her that I couldn't make a plan concretely because I had to know that she was going to have a perfect time. Now, that's a boy. Because he's putting your approval of him over everything, that he'll constantly be so needy and nice to get your approval without actually owning and stating what he wants and leading you there. So, this is the energy of a boy who remains in the winking stage with you because he's too scared to step up to you because he's so terrified of you rejecting him or you being in a state of disapproval towards him. And this manifests as staying in the texting phase for too long and making you make the move, because if you make the move and make the date, then he's less likely to be disapproved of. So that's a boy. And if listen, if you think I'm being too harsh, if you're a woman, would you want a guy to stay in that wicking stage for you for weeks, texting over and over again without making a concrete plan, taking a risk, and saying, "Hey, I trust my ability to lead you to a good time, and I'm gonna show you that," versus someone being super wishy-washy and texting and not setting a time up and making you make the first move, the hard move. Okay. Furthermore, in addition to this, sometimes women past the wink seem to men to be wishy-washy, which means you're texting a bit and you want him to set up a time to meet and set up a date so you can see if this is real, right? Men will then take your kind of like pushing, saying, "Hey, make a plan here," as being wishy-washy, so they'll ghost you. I used to do this. Whenever I thought a woman was being wishy-washy, I would just make it think, "Oh, she's not interested in me. I got to peace out here." But your wishy-washy energy as a woman, when a man is not moving past the wink, is correct, because you need him to step up and be a man, but he's stuck in your winking stage. So, I only recently got past this. I'm currently seeing someone who is absolutely amazing. She's deeply special. She's everything I've been asking for. And thank God I knew this stuff and knew how to step up properly to get to a place where we can actually enjoy each other rather than staying in these weird, awkward talking stages. Now, what did that actually mean? That meant that as a man, you're responsible to pull a woman out of her wishy-washy energy. Because why should she trust you? Why should she trust your ass and be texting you right on time and being super conversational and forward? Like, why should she do that? Like, who the fuck are you? So as a man, you have to kind of show her, "Hey, I'm intentional and clear about you. Here's what's happening. Here's where we're going. Here's what we're doing." Just give her someone to say yes to, right? That's as simple as it is. So I learned that, like, this beautiful woman was being a little bit like wishy-washy, like, who the is this guy? What does he want from me? And when I felt that, I kind of had to push. I had to be like, "Hey, meet me here at this time. I made a table. Boom. It's done." Now I can give her an opportunity to choose, right? I set the plan. Boom. It's set. I trust my ability as a man to lead and to know and to risk rejection and disapproval to experience you and enjoy you. Here's what we're doing. You can choose to come or not. That's that. The masculine essentially is, I am owning what I want with 10 toes down, and I am losing my attachment to what happens. So that means stating a plan. We're going here. We're doing this. This will be amazing. Now, what does that mean? I'm stating this. We're doing this. This will be amazing. What does that mean? Okay. We're meeting here. We're doing this thing, right? Now, I then give her the opportunity and the invitation to say no, right? But I don't have to ask a question. I have to be like, "Hey, do you want to go here? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that?" No, it's, "Hey, we're going here. We're doing this. You can choose to come or not." And that choice she has is in honoring her feminine intuition to trust you as a leader. Why is the solution for a man to be bold and tell you where to go? Look, this may sound oppressive, demeaning, and like you're submitting, but it's actually the opposite of that with the right man. So why is it important for the man to have the wink happen, to have the DM slide happen, and to respond with a little bit of conversation and then go, boom, we're doing this, right? Even if it's long, you DM an international guy and you go a little bit back and forth, and then he's like, "Hey, I want to FaceTime you this Thursday night at 7 p.m. What's your number?" And you can respond to that and say, "Here, perfect." Or you can say, "Oh, Friday works better for me. Great, no problem." Why is this important? When a man says, "We're going here at this time, we're doing this," once you give him the invitation to play, it means that through making that plan, he's saying, "I want you, I am intentional about it, and I am sure about it." and I let go of the attachment of how it plays out. So when he says, meet me here at this time, I set up a date, boom. You have a choice to say yes or no or not. A bad man would make the plan and like, you don't answer and he's like, you bitch, like what the and he's like being weird. That's not a good guy. A good guy will say the plan and lose attachment to what happens or not, right? Because you're feeling this guy's bold. This guy is saying this guy wants me. He's intentional and he's sure. That's an awesome feeling as a woman that you give this guy a wink, an invitation. He's like, yep, I'm answering the call. I'm sure about you. I want you. I'm intentional about it. Here's our plan. You can choose to come or not. That's a man. That is real masculine leadership. I want you. I like you. I will take action rooted in this desire. However, I let go of how it plays out. A shadow bad guy, the bad boy, would be like, I want you, I like you, here's what we're doing. And you're kind of like, I don't know. And then he's like, you're doing this thing. That's controlling. A leader states what's happening, and he knows, hey, you have the choice to be intuitive and honor your free will. It's all good. I'm still going to own my desire. Now, what kind of woman wouldn't want a guy to be sure about her, want her, be intentional, and state that through saying, I'm making a plan, I'm risking looking like a dumbass, I'm risking being rejected, but I'm laying it all out on the table for you because I like you, I want you, I'm intentional. That's what women want. Women want to give the guy the wink, the look, the invitation, the DM slide, and he shows up saying, okay, I see your invitation to play, here's a plan, here's what we're doing, I'm stating through this plan that I want you, I like you, I'm intentional, boom. That union, that marinade, that beautiful concoction of sauces is the perfect container for initiatory romantic experiences, which is, again, I invite you to play, you show up with a plan. Boom. Right? That's what it is. And that it shows real masculine leadership. Again, there are two men. You give both men the wink. One guy answers the wink with a plan and being intentional about you and saying, hey, meet me here. The other guy keeps you waiting for weeks, being wishy-washy until you say you love him. What feels more masculine? What makes you feel more chosen? Look, as a woman, you want to be chosen. How can you be chosen if a guy isn't intentional and direct in his communication and his planning for your dates? You want that kind of guy who says, meet me here at this time after you invite him to play, because that guy is saying, I'm intentional, I want you, I'm sure about it, I'm going to risk put myself out there like that. Boom. Okay. Within this construct, there's this whole concept right now out there in the dating world, which is essentially, if he wanted to, he would. And this is used, I think it's pretty good advice, albeit complicated, that women will dismiss men who are wishy-washy, who aren't being intentional and direct in their interest for you and their ability to make plans for you. Now, this is complicated because he might very well be interested, but he is not man enough to step up and lie on the sword of potentially being rejected and disapproved of. I believe in the initiatory stages of romance, a woman needs to know you are willing to lie on the sword of rejection, of looking dumb, to get them. To say, hey, I'm going to put a risk out there. State a plan. Be bold, saying, hey, meet me here at this time. Let's go. Right? That woman could be like, what the f*** wrong with this guy? Are you crazy? You're asking me out? Come on. She has to know that I'm willing to die in the sword of my ego to open up a possibility for love. Right? Again, what feels better? It comes time to go on a date. The guy's like, what do you want to do? What should we do? What do you like? Versus the guy being like, we're going here at this time. Boom. Because that guy is saying, I like you. I own it. I'm willing to die in the sword of rejection. I don't need your approval. I don't need you making it perfect for me and stating exactly what you want. Here we go. Boom. So if you really feel like the connection is special with the guy and you feel him being wishy-washy, look, you're going to have to go into your masculine energy to make it work. And that's okay. Right? You can say, hey, I like you. I'm intentional about you. What's up? Like, why are you being wishy-washy? That can pull him out. But I can tell you this. You can do that. You have free will. But you're going to take the masculine role. And that may seem like empowering, but let me tell you why it's tricky. A real man pursues you with intention and security. He says, once you are flirting a bit, let's set up a real date, a FaceTime, something with action to move us forward, rather than being in this wishy-washy boyish energy of, I'm going to dance in this for a while so I don't have to risk myself looking stupid or risk myself getting rejected. Let me stay in this little safe space. A real man goes, you invited me to play. Boom, let's play. I'm making a plan. That's a man, right? And if you have to be the woman to step up and make the plan and state your intentionality, you are taking on that masculine role, right? Think about it. Would you be the one? Would you be more attracted to a guy who makes you make the hard decisions? Or would you be attracted to a guy who makes the hard decisions because he's intentional and he wants you, right? Okay, now for the next stage. We discussed the really initiatory stages, which is woman, give the proverbial wink, give the man an invitation to play. Now, he has to answer the call with intention and clarity. That's a real man. A real man answers a woman's invitation to play, a wink, a DM, with an intentional plan to explore that. That is the perfect combination for a beautiful romance. So that happens, right? He makes a date, he makes a plan, you have a date, boom, okay? That 1-2, that jab, right, straight punch combo landed. Boom, you're there. First date was cool. You felt him as a man. Okay, let's go. Now, I believe all high-value men follow a philosophy created by spiritual teacher David Data, which I follow, which is choose a woman who chooses you. Now, what does that mean? What does it mean to be a man who knows this woman has chosen you? Okay, once that first or second date has happened, a high-quality man will only invest in you if you feel like you're investing in him. Now, this does not mean you're making plans. You're saying where to meet. You're setting the tone. You're creating a container for your love and your romantic union. That's not what it is, right? Because women think that like, oh, if choosing it means I have to like be the man and make all the plans. I don't want to do that. It's different, okay? This is where we'll be getting into the nitty-gritty of what is the difference between masculine pursuit and feminine pursuit. The man pursues with structure. The woman pursues by showing her appreciation. So this means the man leads with making plans. Hey, I booked dinner at this time. Meet me here. Wear this dress. You go to the date, have an amazing time, are in a surrendered state of joy, and you feel so good. All the worries about your work day and everything just melts. You're present with him in a state of love and surrender. You then extend your appreciation to him of what ensued and the effort he put in to take care of you and make you feel safe. That is the combination of pursuit. The man pursues by leading, creating structure and plans for you to play and feel joyous. You then express your deep appreciation for him as a man and the effort he put in to court you. That is the divine union of courtship. Now, what's the evidence for this, right? Who am I to say this is truth? Okay. When a masculine man is touched by a woman, what happens to his life, right? I know what happens because I experience it. I'm a pretty masculine, even though I host a podcast about love and I coach women. I'm a pretty masculine, rigid, hard man. I like lifting. I fight. I like action movies. Yes, I have a very real, tender, feminine side, but I'm also masculine. And as a man, I'm speaking as when a man is touched by a woman, he begins to appreciate life more. What does that mean? He sees the sunset with a more generous and appreciative gaze. He looks at a dog with a more endearing sense of wonder. He watches an Instagram clip of a movie where the first kiss happened and his heart opens. He feels more kind towards the barista in the coffee shop. He's more compassionate towards his workers. What that means is he is entering the consciousness of being more appreciative towards the normal things in his life he wouldn't normally be appreciative for. So that means the feminine touch in his heart creates a portal of a higher sense of appreciation for life. That is literally what I'm saying. That when the man creates structure, he feels your love as a woman by appreciating him. That's how he feels loved by you appreciating his effort and his stature and energy as a man. When these both are present, you have a symphony. I can only prove this by presenting the opposite, the inverted version of this. Now, think of you dating a guy, and the guy is not presenting any semblance of a structure and container for your romantic expression. He is not setting up dates and times to meet. He is not being clear about where you and him stand. The most common complaint I hear from women is, I don't know where I stand with this guy, and it's making me really frustrated. I don't know what to do, right? That is you saying you need a man with structure who creates a container for your romantic expression of the two of you to say, hey, we like each other, I like you, here's how it's going to play out, right? Imagine a guy who doesn't have any structure at all with you romantically. It crumbles. When a guy has no structure in setting up a date night or him telling you, I like you, here's where we're at the moment, him not setting emotional boundaries for the two of you to create a clear line for the expression of love. When that guy has no structure with you, the romantic relationship crumbles, right? So the man needs structure for the union to blossom. That's a fact, literally, right? Even if women don't want to accept that the man has to be a man, then why does she need him to have structure? It's built into our psyches. You know, I know there's this frustration of being traditional and conservative. This is not that. This is fact, right? All of women's complaints that come with a man in dating are almost always revolved around the guy's lack of structure. She doesn't know where her and him stand. If she doesn't know where her and him stand, it's a reflection of him not being intentional. And when you're not intentional, there's no structure. Okay. On the other side, when the woman is not being appreciative of the man and his effort to court her and to create structure around them, it crumbles. Look, any man who dates a woman who's not appreciative of his effort, who doesn't say thank you when he pays for dinner, who isn't giving him this beautiful feeling of appreciation of him as a man and what he's doing for her, it crumbles. It truly crumbles. When I've been in a situation like that, it was in a situation where I was being a simp, a beta. I handed this woman everything, and I didn't care that she didn't like me because I just loved her so much because I wanted to use her as this toy to prove I'm a man to others, right? When I've been in situations where the woman is genuinely appreciative, love blossoms. Real love blossoms. So, if a high-value man puts a serious effort into making an amazing date for you, and he's being really intentional and clear and creating an awesome structure for the expression of your love, and he's working hard at the same time, and he's working so hard to provide for your dates, and you're offering no appreciation, that guy's gone. If a guy is he's putting his hard work and hours to pay for an amazing event for the both of you to enjoy each other, and you have no appreciation for him as a man, that guy's gone. So again, the man has to create structure, the woman has to appreciate that structure. That combination is the tango of love, the beautiful one. This shows why I said in the beginning of the podcast that both genders pursue. They just pursue in different ways. The man pursues by creating structure, plans, events, sacrificing his time and money for the continuation and extrapolation of the romantic union. The woman pursues by showing appreciation of what he's doing, and that appreciation extends to telling him, hey, I like you. Thank you. And that, okay, what's an example? How can a woman actually do this? Because it's one thing to say this and one thing to be practical. Okay. On your third date, he took you to this amazing dinner. It was expensive. You had expensive wine. He drove you home in his nice car. He was extremely kind and respectful. You go home, you have a kiss, make out the door, you're not ready for sex. He leaves you at your house. He goes away. You text him saying, thank you so much for tonight. I had an amazing time. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Now, again, you're giving him the invitation to play. You're not saying, hey, meet me here. Hey, we're doing this. Hey, I'm paying for it. You're saying, I really appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. And that means that you're telling him, I like you. You're giving him the invitation to play. And the guy takes that message, the invitation to play, and creates structure. It's this back and forth thing, right? Man creates structure, man creates event. Woman appreciates it, says, thank you so much. I like you. This is awesome. Let's play again. Boom, 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 boom. Okay? What's currently happening in modern dating? I mentioned earlier that things got fucked up because both genders aren't honoring this dance, which means that the genders nowadays in America are inverting this process. So what does that mean? The women are pursuing with structure. The men are pursuing with appreciation. Because women have been told that leadership, because of the patriarchy and their terrible fathers, that leadership means I'm going to be subjected to torture and abuse and a complete destruction of my autonomy as a woman. Now, that's true when the leadership is done under the guise of control, that if I say to do this, you have to do this. And I'm not considering your needs. I'm only considering my needs as a man and making you do them. That's up. That shit. That's horrible. That's oppressive. That's the complete wrong horror of the patriarchy that I am deeply against. And I'll do everything I can to defeat. Now, that does not mean that masculine leadership is bad. Women actually crave masculine leadership in a healthy way, which is, I am leading us with the consideration of your heart and your intuition. I'm leading us for what we both want and need, not just what I want and need. And you have the freedom to not join me. I'm going to invite you to come with me. And considering your heart in this invitation, you have the free will to say no. That's real masculine leadership. Bad masculine leadership is, I'm only doing what I want. You have to come with me. If you say no, I will be abusive. That is the patriarchy. No bueno. Okay. So because of this wounding, a woman being resistant to male leadership, men then push the leadership to the woman. They're so terrified of offending the woman, and not being woke and liberal and a feminist, that they'll push all the planning onto her, and that creates all this muck, this wishy-washy energy in dating, where the woman deep down unconsciously wants the guy to be a man and make a plan, but he's scared to make a plan because he doesn't want to tell you what to do. And then here we are now in this structure, in this nightmare where women have to be the ones to eventually create structure, where there's way too much texting, way too much wishy-washy energy, and that wishy-washy energy only goes away when you have to end up making the plan, and you then become the one to create structure, and then you create this amazing date, and you split the bill, and the guy's like, oh, thank you for setting up today, it was great. That's a boy, that's not a man. Like, come on. Like, of course, there's a balance here sometimes. You don't have to always follow this. You can say, hey, let's get ice cream. Like, it's not one size fits all, and a man should also show his appreciation for you sometimes. But if all courtship is this process of a man being scared to create a plan because he doesn't want to offend you, and you have to be the one to create the plans, and you're creating structure in a container, and all the man is sitting there looking pretty, saying, thank you for dinner tonight, thank you, and you be the one to make first moves, that's backwards. That all polarity is lost. The man is providing no structure and just being an emotional butterball. All polarity is lost. Can you truly be sexually attracted to a guy who just sits there saying, thank you so much for dinner, thank you, oh my God, thank you, like, for even considering me, thank you for making this plan so I don't have to step up and be a man? There's no polarity. That's what's creating this modern dating nightmare, is these powerful women are too terrified of male leadership that they put all the leadership onto themselves, and they attract a guy who's a bait and a simp who's just sitting there being thankful and appreciative and emotional, and there's no polarity and there's no sexual attraction, and then they'll be like, okay, you know what, it's better to be with a friend than no one at all. So they lose the potential of being with someone who they love and they're sexually attracted to. So to give evidence to this, I want you to think of two men. One man is sure about you, and he reveals this through amazing plans, structure, and deep penetrative presence with you. Now, the other one is sure about you, but he's insecure about making plans, pushes on you to do them, and pursues you through being overly nice and complimentary. Which man is more sexy? Which guy do you want to f? You want to f the guy who's strong and masculine enough to say, I'm considering your feelings, and in that consideration, I'm creating a plan for us to do something that we'll both enjoy, and I'm being intentional with you and saying, hey, this is where we're at, this is what's happening. Or the guy who pushes it all into you and sits back to looking pretty, being hyper emotional, vulnerable, and just saying, thank you so much, you're amazing, I'll do whatever you want. Which guy do you want to The one who is masculine. Now, more importantly, put yourselves in the shoes of a man. What is more sexually attractive to a man? The woman who always wants control and never thanks him or compliments him, or the woman who lets him lead only if he considers her feelings and gives her the freedom to say no, obviously, and thanks him and compliments him on the date? Like, look, I will never, ever be with a woman who refuses to let me lead because she has to always be in control, and she'll never thank me and compliment me because she hates men. I'll never do that as a strong man. Look, all women deep down want a strong, masculine leader, and that leadership means honoring her feelings and guiding both of them to an awesome experience with the freedom of her saying no. All women want that, but they think that leadership means control and oppression, which it did for so long, and so many other men follow that rubric, that then she pushes away any possibility of masculine leadership, meaning she has to become the man, and the man becomes the woman, where she's creating structure and he's being the one being appreciative, right? It's backwards. It's fully backwards. I've never, ever seen a romantic relationship with that dynamic where the woman is deeply sexually attracted to the man. I'm risking being offensive here, but I just don't see it working. I've never seen it work. I've only seen it work where the guy's a beta simp and the woman's a controlling maniac, and he's just this little like puppet that's there for her emotional safety. Before I go on to the last section, the conclusion of this, I'm going to make an important point. If you want a man, a real man, you have to let him pursue you as a man, and you need to pursue him as a woman. What does that mean? You let him make plans, take the lead, and also give you the freedom to say, hey, you don't have to do this if you don't want, but I'm going with this, we're doing this. You have the freedom to say no or not. I'm still taking the risk here and saying, I'm intentional, I'm direct, I want you, here's what we're doing. Now, you have to also be very appreciative of his investment in you financially, emotionally, and time-wise, right? That dance is what creates the proper union for courtship, for a relationship with sexual polarity and an open heart, right? When a man feels like you are choosing him by appreciating him, and when you show that appreciation of his sacrifice, his financial sacrifice, his ability to go to work every day and pay the bills for you because he wants to see you happy, when you say 1 ounce of appreciation towards that guy, he melts. Because his whole life has been a perpetual sacrifice that he has never been thanked for. Imagine being a guy. You go to your desk job, you hate it. You're like, man, I'm sacrificing so much. I come here to dinner, I'm paying for it, and I never get any thank you, but I still do it anyway because it's my job. Just one little drop of thank you so much. I see your sacrifice and effort as a man. I'm deeply appreciative. That guy melts. That guy melts. So the key to a man's heart for a woman isn't in being sexy. It's not in being hot. It's not in being submissive. It's in being appreciative of his sacrifice as a man. Seeing him and saying, I see how much you sacrifice for our connection. I see how much you sacrifice for your future children. I see how much you sacrifice for our life. I see it. I appreciate it. I thank you. That guy melts. And that's all just in being appreciative as a woman. So the key to a man's heart is just appreciating him and the shit he goes through constantly just to give you something good. Okay. So, what do we do here? What's the actual actionable plan to do something about this dilemma? First step, wave the flag loudly to come play. Invite him to come play loudly. Once he's directed and created a structure where you can play in a beautiful manner, and he pays for it especially, express your appreciation loudly. How does one do this? I really appreciate the effort you are putting into me. I am excited to see you again. He just wants to know that his effort and care is not going unnoticed. Now, look, as a man, it's also my responsibility, once the woman presents that appreciation, to say, I am so thankful for how thankful you are. It's a never-ending beautiful circle. This is female pursuit. I invite you to come play. You come play and create structure and intentionality about me and us. I then express my appreciation. That is the feminine pursuit. So, this means if you want that dynamic with a man who leads with structure and considering you in that structure fully, not doing it just for his own pleasure and needs, you have to be ruthless to only say yes to men who pursue you by being highly intentional about you. A man has not owned his intention if he is being wishy-washy and overly texting and requiring your approval for making a plan, and needs you to be sure of him before he asks you out. That's a boy. The man's job is to constantly create structure for your connection to express itself. That's a man's job. When a man doesn't do that, it crumbles. And when a woman doesn't express her appreciation for her sacrifice to create that, it crumbles. So the proverbial Peter Pan boy is a guy who's just wishy-washy, and you constantly have to step up and play the role of the structure provider to create connection. And those connections never work because he's not being intentional. The wishy-washy boy whose approval you have to earn is the boy who will ruin you because he's not intentional about you. Look, when you only say yes to men who off the bat are creating plans for you and being intentional about you and saying where you're at, you then save yourself the potential destruction of a man who breaks your heart, because a man who breaks your heart was never really intentional about you. He was just being wishy-washy and saying these fancy things and being this lover boy, but he never was actually intentional and structured and boom, masculine. So the real masculine man is actually the safest guy because off the bat, by expressing his interest in the plans he wants for both of you and leading you there, he's saying, I'm intentional about our future and I'm guiding you there. The guy who's wishy-washy and feminine and just wants sex and is playing and not creating plans, that guy is the guy who will destroy you eventually because he's not intentional. You need an intentional man who creates plans and structure because that intentionality means I see a future for us. A guy who's wishy-washy doesn't want to make plans will eventually ruin you because he was never intentional about you in the first place. So only date men who off the bat express their intentionality, because if they don't, they will eventually ruin you because they were never intentional about you. Like, I promise this can be revealed so early if you just catch it. You can only catch it if you only say yes to men who are intentional off the bat. You invite them to play, they create a plan to play. And then you appreciate their plan and their sacrifice to pay for it. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. I know this is more traditional than normal. And look, there's a role in once there's a union set. It's been like you're dating for a while. Sure, take him out, create structure, create plans, and sure, he should appreciate you for that. Like, these things can flip-flop, but off the bat, initially, I think it's really important for a man to tell a woman through creating plans and being sure about her, I am so intentional about you. And a woman feels that intention as, I'm being chosen by this guy. What's sexier than that? What's sexier than a woman feeling, this guy chose me? And he chooses you by being intentional about your expression of love for the both of you. And on the flip side, a man who is appreciated for his sacrifice and his presence and energy as a man, that man is also going to reap the benefits of that union. So that's a divine interplay. And both have to be honored, or else we face what we're currently facing, where there's either two options of the guy, there's only a sexual connection, or there's only a friendship connection. So off you go and play. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to watch more content, please click this video right here and don't forget to subscribe right here. Thank you.